The best construction teams I've ever seen don't just work together, they learn together. And that's not an accident. What's going on, everyone? Joel Lipsky here. 20 years in construction, job site to boardroom. I built companies, led teams, and made plenty of mistakes along the way. This channel is about one thing, helping you run a better construction business. Not just build better projects, but run a better business. Let's get into it. Let me say something that every honest contractor already knows, but not enough people say it out loud. Nobody knows everything in this industry, and anyone who tells you they do, they're full of it. Construction is one of the most complex, dynamic, and unpredictable industries on the planet. Every project is different. Every site is different. Every client, every subcontractor, every set of conditions is different. That means you are constantly being tested, constantly being put in situations you haven't seen before, and that means you are constantly learning. The question isn't whether you're going to learn lessons in this business. You are, guaranteed. The question is, what do you do with those lessons once you learn them? Do you keep them to yourself, file them away, hope it doesn't happen again? Or do you put them on the table, share them with your team so that everyone else gets smarter, not just you? Because here's the truth. If your team isn't learning from your mistakes and their mistakes, you're not learning from theirs. You're leaving money on the table every single day. Avoidable mistakes are the most expensive mistakes in construction, not because they're the biggest, but because they didn't have to happen. So if shared learning is so valuable, why don't more construction companies do it? I'll tell you why. Because it requires vulnerability. And vulnerability is not something this industry has traditionally made space for. Construction is a tough culture. We don't like to admit it when things go wrong. There's egos involved. There's pride involved. Sometimes there's fear of judgment, fear of what the boss is going to think. So what happens? People hide the mistake and hide the lesson from that mistake. They absorb it quietly, move on, and 3 months later, 3 years later, someone else on your team makes the exact same mistake, cost you the exact same money because nobody talked about it. That's a leadership problem, not a people problem. As a leader of your company, it is your job to create an environment where that team feels safe enough to say, I got it wrong, and here's what I learned. That's not weakness. That's how elite teams operate. Let me tell you exactly what we do at Lipsky Construction, because this isn't theory. This is something we built into our company and has paid for itself over many times. Every 2 weeks, we have a staff lunch. Now, a lot of companies do team lunches, and that's great. Culture does matter. Camaraderie matters. But for us, this lunch isn't just about community. It has a purpose. We go around the room, and every single person shares one lesson they learned in the past 2 weeks. One thing that went wrong, one situation that didn't go the way it was supposed to go, and what they took away from it. That's it. Simple format, powerful results. What it does is it forces accountability. You have to own something. You have to stand up and say, even in a room of your peers, here's where I fell short. Here was where I made a mistake, and here's what I took away from it. It forces vulnerability, which in a construction culture is not easy. But when the leader does it first, when I sit at that table and share my own mistakes, it gives everyone else permission to do the same. And then here's the part that really matters. Everyone else in the room learns from it right there and then. Somebody on my team makes a mistake in the field that costs us time or money. And by the time that lunch is over, every other person on my team knows what happened and how to avoid it. Do you know how much that has saved us? It would surprise you, because avoidable mistakes adds up fast in this business. Miscommunication, a misstep in the process, a detail that got overlooked. These aren't catastrophic errors, but they do cost you. And if nobody ever talks about them, they keep costing you over and over again. The biweekly staff lunch changed everything for us. So how do you actually build this into your company? How do you create a team that learns together? Here's how I would approach it. First, it starts with you. If you're the owner, you set the tone. If you want your team to be open about mistakes, you have to go first. You have to sit at the table and say, here's something I got wrong this week. Here's what I should have done differently. The moment you do that, the walls come down. Your team sees that this isn't about punishment. It's about growth. Second, make it structured. Don't just say, let's share lessons and hope it happens organically. It won't. Build it into your schedule. Make it a reoccurring meeting. Give it a format. At Lipsky, it's the biweekly staff lunch. For you, it might be a Monday morning huddle, a weekly check-in, whatever fits your operation. Put it on your calendar and protect it. Third, make it safe. And this is critical. The moment someone shares a mistake and gets hammered for it, the whole thing falls apart. Nobody will open up again. You have to separate the lesson from the discipline. This is a learning conversation, not a performance review. Fourth, document the lessons. Don't let good mistakes die in the room. Write them down. Start a lessons learned log, a simple document. What happened? What did we learn? What can we change? Over time, that becomes one of the most valuable assets your company has. It's how you stop making the same mistakes as you grow and bring new people on. Fifth, celebrate the culture. When someone brings a great lesson to the table, acknowledge it. When a team member honestly saves a company from repeating an error, recognize it. Make people feel good about contributing to the team's growth. Here's what I want you to understand at this deeper level. The construction companies that stay stuck, the ones that can't scale, can't seem to get out of their own way, they all have one thing in common. They operate in silos. The project manager keeps his lessons to himself. The super keeps theirs. The estimator doesn't talk to the field. The field doesn't talk to the office. Nobody is sharing. Nobody is learning from each other. And the company keeps making the same mistake over and over year after year. The companies that grow, the ones that build real teams, real culture, real systems, operate differently. Information flows. Lessons are shared. Mistakes are owned and turned into tools. That's not a coincidence. That's a decision. You decide whether your teams learn together or struggles separately. And if you're watching this, I think you already know which one you want. Here's your takeaway from today. You are going to make mistakes in this business, and so is your team. That is the reality of construction. But the most expensive mistakes are the avoidable ones, the ones where someone already learned that lesson and just never shared it. Don't be that company. Build the safe space, create the structure, go first as a leader, and watch what happens when your team starts learning together instead of learning alone. If this hits home, share it with another contractor who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you're serious about building a stronger construction business. We're just getting started.